The
I'm
kindergarten
here for
classroom
you.
smelled of
I
crayons
know,
and
it's
apple
just so
juice, but
hard.
all Emma could
We'll get
focus
through it
on was the
together.
little girl sitting alone in the corner during snack time. Again, for the third day in a row, 5-year-old Lily Chen sat with an empty lunchbox, her small hands folded in her lap, watching the other children eat with eyes that tried so hard not to look hungry. Emma's heart cracked a little more each time she noticed. As a teacher's aide barely making ends meet herself, she understood that hollow feeling intimately. But what she didn't understand yet was how one simple act of kindness would shatter a single father's carefully built walls and teach her that sometimes the deepest love exists in the spaces we're brave enough not to fill. Emma Martinez had learned early that life didn't promise fairness. At 28, she worked 2 jobs, the teacher's aide position at Maplewood Elementary during the day and weekend shifts at a local diner, just to keep her studio apartment and her decade-old Honda running. Her own dreams of becoming a teacher with her own classroom had been postponed indefinitely when her father's medical bills consumed her college savings 3 years ago. She'd made peace with it, mostly. The kids in her classroom gave her purpose, even if her bank account suggested otherwise. Lily Chen had appeared in their kindergarten class 6 weeks ago, mid-semester. A tiny thing with dark pigtails and a backpack nearly as big as she was, clutching her father's hand like it was the only solid thing in her universe. Daniel Chen had filled out the enrollment papers with efficient, tired movements, his dress shirt wrinkled despite the early morning hour. Emma had noticed the shadows under his eyes, the way he'd triple-checked the emergency contact information despite having only his own number to write down. Single father, she'd guessed. Recently, too, judging by how Lily's fingers had tightened on his sleeve when he'd tried to leave. The first few weeks had been rough. Lily barely spoke, flinched at sudden noises, and spent most of her time watching the door as if expecting someone who never came. Emma had gradually coaxed her out of her shell with gentle patience, learning that Lily loved butterflies, knew all her colors in both English and Mandarin, and had a laugh like tiny bells when you tickled her just right under her chin. But lately, Emma had noticed things that made her chest ache. The 2 big shoes that were clearly secondhand. The same 3 shirts rotating through the week. The lunch box that grew lighter until this week, when it had been completely empty. On the 3rd day of watching Lily pretend not to be hungry, Emma made a decision. During her planning period, she slipped out to the grocery store and bought a week's worth of kid-friendly lunch supplies. That evening, she packed 2 lunch boxes, one for Lily, one for herself, so it wouldn't seem like charity. The next morning, she caught Lily at the classroom door. "Hey, sweetie, I packed way too much lunch today. My eyes are always bigger than my stomach. Think you could help me out and share it with me?" Lily's eyes had gone wide, darting between Emma's face and the colorful lunchbox decorated with butterflies. Really? I'd hate for it to go to waste. Plus, everything tastes better when you share it with a friend, right? The smile that broke across Lily's face was worth every penny Emma had spent and then some. It became their routine. Every day, Emma would arrive with 2 lunch boxes, and every day, Lily would help her eat the extra food. Emma started adding little notes, drawings of butterflies and flowers, jokes that made Lily giggle. She began staying late to help Lily with her letters, reading extra stories, making sure the little girl felt seen and valued and important. 3 weeks into this quiet arrangement, Daniel Chen appeared at the classroom door after hours. Emma was alone, cleaning up the art station while Lily drew at one of the tables. She looked up to find him standing in the doorway, and something in his expression made her heart stutter. "Mr. Chen, is everything okay?" He stepped inside, closing the door gently behind him. His jaw was tight, his eyes suspiciously bright. "I need to talk to you about Lily's lunches." Emma's stomach dropped. She'd been so careful to make it seem natural, not like pity. "I can explain. I found this in her backpack." He held up one of the notes Emma had drawn, a butterfly with the words, "You are amazing," written underneath. His voice cracked slightly. "And then I asked her where her lunches were coming from. She told me everything. About how you share with her every day. How you stay late to help her read. How you braided her hair last week when I sent her with tangles because I still can't figure out how to do it right. Mr. Chen, Daniel, please." He sank into one of the tiny kindergarten chairs, looking impossibly large and impossibly vulnerable all at once. "I need you to stop." The words hit Emma like a physical blow. "I'm sorry, I didn't mean to overstep. Let me finish. He rubbed his face with both hands, and when he looked up, tears were streaming down his cheeks. My wife died 8 months ago. Cancer. We knew it was coming, but that doesn't make it any easier. She was the heart of our family, Lily's mom, my best friend, the person who held everything together. When she died, I fell apart. I took a demotion at work so I could leave early for pickup. We moved to a cheaper apartment. I've been drowning in medical debt and grief and trying to figure out how to be both parents when I barely know how to be one. Emma moved closer, her own eyes burning. Daniel, I'm so sorry. I've been failing my daughter, he continued, his voice raw. I see it every day. I can't afford her old daycare. Half the time, I send her to school with whatever I can scrape together, and lately, that's been nothing. I lie awake at night trying to figure out which bills to pay, which ones can wait another month. I watch my baby girl try to be brave, try not to be too much trouble, and it kills me. And then you, his voice broke completely. You stepped in and loved my child when I couldn't even feed her properly. Daniel, you are not failing her, Emma said firmly, kneeling beside his chair. You're surviving an impossible situation. You're showing up every day. You're trying, but it's not enough. The words came out as barely a whisper. It's everything, Emma insisted. And I didn't help Lily because you were failing. I helped her because I see you both struggling, and I have the ability to make it a tiny bit easier. That's what we do for each other. That's what community means. But I can't pay you back, he said helplessly. I can't take you to dinner to thank you. I can't even afford to buy you a coffee. I have nothing to offer you. Emma felt something shift in her chest, a truth crystallizing that she'd been avoiding for weeks. She'd started to care for this small family, started to look forward to Daniel's grateful smiles at pickup, started to imagine herself as part of their healing. But she could see it in his eyes, the pride wounded by accepting help, the walls built by grief, the way he was pulling back even as he sat before her. I don't want you to pay me back, Emma said quietly. And I'm not doing this expecting anything from you, Daniel. I'm not trying to, she paused, choosing her words carefully. I'm not trying to replace anyone or insert myself into your life in any way that makes you uncomfortable. I can't be yours. That's not what this is about. But I can love your kids. I can make sure Lily has lunch. I can be a safe person for her at school. You don't owe me anything for that except letting me keep doing it. The silence stretched between them, heavy with things unsaid. Daniel stared at her, and Emma watched him wrestle with something behind his eyes, pride, grief, hope, fear all tangled together. Finally, he spoke. Why? Why would you do this when there's nothing in it for you? Emma smiled sadly. Because 3 years ago, when my dad was dying and I was choosing between paying for his medications or eating that week, someone left a box of groceries on my doorstep. No name, no note. Just food. I never found out who it was, but it saved me during the darkest time of my life. And I promised myself that when I could, I'd be that person for someone else. We don't survive hard times alone, Daniel. We're not supposed to. Daniel closed his eyes, and when he opened them again, something had shifted. The walls weren't gone, but they'd cracked just enough to let light through. I don't know how to accept this. I don't know how to be this vulnerable. You just did, Emma pointed out gently. And tomorrow, you'll drop Lily off, and I'll share my lunch with her, and you'll pick her up, and we'll keep going. One day at a time. That's all any of us can do. He nodded slowly, then stood. But before he left, he turned back. Emma, thank you. Not just for the food. For seeing her. For seeing us. Always, Emma promised. 6 months later, Emma sat in the audience at Lily's kindergarten graduation, watching the little girl who'd once sat alone in corners now dancing across the stage with confidence and joy. Daniel sat beside her, their friendship having grown slowly, carefully, through shared pickup conversations and occasional weekend playdates where Emma taught Lily to make friendship bracelets while Daniel attempted his first successful French braid. They'd never become more than friends. Daniel wasn't ready, might never be ready, and Emma had made peace with that. But sitting there, watching Lily search the crowd until her eyes landed on both of them and her face lit up like sunrise, Emma understood something profound. Love wasn't always romance. Sometimes it was showing up with an extra lunchbox. Sometimes it was learning to braid hair and bearing witness to someone else's grief. Sometimes the deepest impact we make is simply being present in the spaces where we're needed, asking for nothing in return except the privilege of making someone's burden a little lighter. Lily ran to them after the ceremony, throwing her arms around Emma's neck. "Did you see me? Did you see? I saw everything, Butterfly," Emma murmured, hugging her tight. "I'm so proud of you." Over Lily's head, Emma caught Daniel's eye. He mouthed 2 words, "Thank you." Emma smiled and mouthed back, "Always." Because that's what love did. It showed up. It stayed. It asked for nothing except the chance to be exactly what someone needed, exactly when they needed it most.